Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I want to talk about 5 tips for managing pandemic holiday blues. Because we know this year the holidays are going to be different, because this year has been different in the middle, and we are entering the holiday season in the middle of a pandemic, and all the same stresses of the holiday will still be there along with the stresses of the pandemic. So today I want to talk about 5 things that you can do, 5 different things that you may experience, and things that you can do to address them or cope with them. But before I get into that, I want to take a quick moment and say, if you are subscribed, thank you so very much for being a part of our wonderful world. And if you're not yet subscribed, please take a moment and click the subscribe button below so that you can become a part of our wonderful world. And remember to tick the bell so that you are notified when I post new videos so you don't miss anything. And of course, if you'd like to purchase 1 or 3 of my books, there's also a link below that will take you to a website that shows you all the different places, your different options where you can purchase 1 or 3 of my books, which, by the way, make great gifts. Okay, let me get back to it. One of the first things that many people have been experiencing through the pandemic is a great deal of anxiety, because there's that not knowing, there's the constant back and forth, there's so much going on that is causing anxiety. And now we're adding to it the limitations that it's imposing on how we celebrate the holidays. So the anxiety that was already there during the pandemic is going to be a little bit elevated as we add the holiday season and the holiday changes and the normal holiday stress with pandemic holiday mayhem. Yeah, I think that's the clinical term I want to use, mayhem. So as you add all that, the anxiety level will be a little bit, maybe even a lot higher. One of the things I have been recommending this whole time is limit your consumption of the trauma, limit your consumption of media, limit the consumption of how much of this, hey, world on fire, that you're taking in. Because each time you take it in, it's like reliving it. It's adding to your bucket. Even if you listen to the same thing 5 times, each time you listen to it, it pours into your bucket. So limit your consumption. Figure out where you want to get your information, and get your information on a regular basis. But it does not have to be streaming 24 hours a day, and you don't have to be notified every 5 minutes that the same thing really is going on. So turn off some of those notifications, remove some of these apps, turn off the TV or change the TV to something more pleasant. Or same thing with being on the internet, limit social media, limit how much you're seeing of the people who keep posting news. The other thing I recommend is making plans, because plans give you something to look forward to. When you have plans, it's like, that, hey, it gives you a little bit of control, even though that I know many of us had plans to be home for the holidays or to be somewhere for the holidays, and that's not happening. It may feel like we don't have as much control, but making plans for what you can, meaning that, hey, the holidays are coming. Make plans for the holidays. You may not be able to go out, but what can you do? What can you plan within the sphere of what is accessible, what is available? Right now, the recommendation is engage with the people in your household. Okay, make plans with the people in your household. Schedule a whole holiday week calendar of things to do. Maybe this is the year that you start the tradition of 12 days of Christmas or 12 days of Hanukkah, or your Kwanzaa celebrations, whatever your religion is, or your Festivus, what whatever your celebration is during the holidays. Make a plan, make a calendar, celebrate, and it gives you a sense of control to have plans too. Um, a lot of people are going to be experiencing sadness and maybe even a bit of depression. Depression has been high already. Depression was already high at the start of the pandemic. During the holiday season, especially as we enter that winter depression phase, a lot of people do tend to experience a bit of depression, whether it is the seasonal affective disorder related depression, whether it is certain things related to loss. There are a lot of reasons that many people experience some level of depression during the year, during the holiday season. So now that's going to coincide with pandemic depression. And for people who don't necessarily have depression, there's going to be a bit of sadness as our holidays are limited and changed and pretty much thrown into chaos. So as you live that, focus on life affirming activities. Yes, a lot has changed, but there is also still a lot that is there. There are still a lot of great things that are still there. So focus on engaging on things that affirm life, things that remind you of the good things that remind you on all the happy moments. In the other video, I talked about ways to use video conferencing as a way to help maintain some of the normalcy of the holidays. Like, do things like that. Focus on engaging on the things that bring you joy. And this is the holidays are usually a time that people indulge. If you can indulge in something that brings you a smile. Yes, we still have to do things within the limits of where of keeping that abundance of caution. But hey, figure out what your caution box is and work within that box and find things that you can bring into your life to bring that smile, to remind you that, hey, yes, world is on fire, but life is still awesome. 3, grief and loss. We are definitely, many people actually, recently I looked and it said that we've lost over 250,000 people just in the US because due to the pandemic. So, and that many people are going to be dealing with that over the holidays because these are new people that are not going to be at the holiday table. And there are so many other reasons that many people experience loss. So there is that loss that is there from people who are no longer there. But there's also going to be grief and loss experience with where dealing with people who are still here, people life that we still have, but the change in the life that we've had. So it's not that necessarily that people have passed, it's more that our life as we knew it has changed. And it's normal that people will experience a bit of grief related to that. And just take your time and grieve and adjust. One thing, we are not comfortable with grieving. We're not comfortable with loss. So what people try to do is make it unhappen. But unfortunately, you don't get to make it unhappen. This is where we are right now. We have, in order to move forward, we have to find ways to adjust. When we lose a person, we have to learn to live with that, the presence of that absence, meaning that the reality that this person is no longer there. We learn to live with that. So in this moment, it may not be a person that you have lost, but it's a way of life. It's a tradition that feels different. So take your time, acknowledge the loss, acknowledge your grief, acknowledge your sadness, acknowledge whatever you feel about it. Hey, acknowledge your anger at it. And then find ways to adjust. Find ways, okay, how do I thrive? How do I still survive? How do I still enjoy, affirm this moment that we're in? So make adjustments. One of my recommendations, video conference as much as you can so that the family can be together, so that your loved ones can be together throughout the holidays. Find ways to adjust to whatever it is that you're missing, that is changed, that is not there. Find ways to adjust so that you're still able to yeah, enjoy the holidays. 4, many people will probably experience a feeling of disillusionment or of a sense of powerlessness, because this is one of those things that, as much as technically it is within our control as a people, as a society, we have had the opportunity to control it, but we have not. So there's that sense of powerlessness, because the world is out there doing what they're doing. Other people are out there doing what they're doing. So many people have felt powerless, like it's happening and you can't do anything about it. Focus on the things that you can't, on what you can do. You may not be able to be out there and you can't and get everyone to do whatever it is that they need to do to help control the spread of the virus. You may not be able to suddenly change it so that we now have a regular holiday season. But what can you do? Where can you bring normalcy? Where can you bring where can you contribute? Service is one of the best ways to contribute, because sometimes when you're in the service of other people, you gain a sense of power. You gain a sense of purpose, not even power. You gain a sense of purpose. You gain meaning. So I know that I mentioned before that normally during the holidays I do like to volunteer, but this year I'm not going to be engaging in traditional volunteering that I've done. So that's one of the things that I need to figure out, is how will I be of service, or what I will be doing instead of being out there volunteering. So focus on what you can do. Find ways to serve, find ways to be there, and yeah, regain your power, regain your purpose. Finally, there is probably going to be a sense of frustration. Many of us have been frustrated with how long this thing is lasting, how this thing is impacting our lives, what is happening. And as much as frustrating as it is that everything is happening and we're not seeing the results that we expected, we're not things are not going as we think they should do, and we see all these things like, hey, this should be done that way, but for whatever reason, it's not being done that way. Um, there's going to be a great deal of frustration. And each time you go to do something, or you want to do something, or maybe you realize that you're unable to do something that you normally would do or that you want to do, that will probably increase that frustration, maybe bring a little bit of anger in there. Focus on relaxation and centering. All of that stuff is external. So find ways to get inside. Find ways to find peace within you and within what you can your sphere of influence. So taking the time to do meditation, taking the time to do things like I I'm not a yoga I'm not a yoga person, but I like to recommend yoga because I believe it is helpful. I know people do it and they find a sense of relaxation from it. If you're a religious person, whatever within your religion helps you gain that sense of centeredness, get to that, find your center. Getting centered will definitely help with managing and controlling that frustration. Those are just a few emotions, a few feelings, a few things that believe people are going to be experiencing. So I wanted to address them and give you some tools that you may be able to use. So let me do a quick recap. 1, for the anxiety that we are already and will probably be experiencing more of, limit your media, make plans, because plans give you a sense of control, and that will help a little bit. For the sadness or depression that you may experience, focus on engaging in life affirming activities. Remind yourself that no matter how bad things are, no matter how sad you may be at the moment, that there are good things, there are reasons to smile. 3, there is going to be a great deal of grief and loss, not just because of losses that have happened, of not losses of human life, whether because of the pandemic or otherwise, but a loss of our sense of life, or the way our life is. And take the time to grieve the loss and make adjustments. Learn to live learn to live in the presence of of the absence of whatever it is that is missing. or that sense of powerlessness. You fight that by focusing on what you can do. Focus, there are still some things that you can do to regain your power. Find those things. Service is a great way to gain a sense of purpose and empowerment. So find ways that you can serve one another. And finally, to deal with the frustration, focus on getting centered. Focus on relaxation. Take the time to meditate, do yoga, or whatever it is that you need to do to bring you back to your Zen space and get centered. As always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please remember that there are professionals like myself who are available, able, and willing to help, and are even providing remote services who can assist with whatever you may have going on. So please figure out who those people are in your community so that if you need the help, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have a great day.